My name is Honorable Daniel Igali. I am the current Commissioner for Sports Development in Bayelsa State and World and Olympic Wrestling Champion. When we came on board, and I wouldn't say it was just me, when the board came on board in 2013, there were some structural adjustments we needed to make. First was the selection criteria we needed to change. It had to be, the best person had to represent the country. We ensured that we had competitions taking place regularly in the state. We changed the pattern of training. I was the coach for the first 6 years. I was the national coach from 2017 to 2013 before I became the president. So we had to entrench certain things. But what we found was, the biggest thing was the change of mindsets. Because our athletes were physically endowed, but they always felt, Igbo people were superior for some reason, or they were eating something that we were not eating. And we needed to change that mindset. And once we started competing effectively and winning and beating them, things have started changing. But we still have a lot to do, and I'm hoping that whoever takes over me will be their own person, and come with their own sets of innovations to improve wrestling. I always don't like talking about the flaws. I like talking about possibilities. But if there are some things we must change, it's got to do with the budgeting cycles. Sports is not something that you budget yearly. It has to be in multi-year cycles. So when we're talking about a budget for 2016, for instance, those funds should be available for 2016 from 2025. Once you have that, you can access funds easier. Funding is the biggest bane, in my view, as it relates to the development of sports in Nigeria. Of course, if you have the funds and you don't have the requisite personnel to manage it, the coaches, the doctors, the trainers, it might not still work well. But I believe that we have the athletes, we have the persons that will be able to do the job. What we require more now is funding. In my view, we probably have just about 20% of the funding we require for sports to progress in Nigeria. Bayelsa is probably the only state in the country that has a functioning sports academy in Asuama, where we have 16 sports currently. Where we admit students from the age of 10. So it's actually secondary school level. And then they go through secondary school, and our plans are to transition them from the Asuama Academy to either the Niger Delta University or Tueke or any other universities of their choice. That's what we've done. But also, Bayelsa is building the most ambitious stadium, not only in Nigeria, but in our view, in the whole of West Africa. We're building a 95 billion stadium. It's already started because one of our goals also is to host the National Sports Festival in 2028. Bayelsa has never hosted it before. We've never even bid for it before. We believe now that we're ripe. We do have the facilities, and the stadium, in our view, will be able to host about 60% of the sports that we will host in the 2028 National Sports Festival. So in terms of infrastructure, this government has done quite well. Our goal is to ensure that sports thrives and that athletes use it as a means of livelihood, but also as careers. And to that extent, we've started having relationships with universities, especially the Niger Delta University. What we want eventually is for any student from Bayelsa State who opts to go to a university to have a faster track for gaining admissions, and also for them to be able to not only compete, but have careers even outside of sports. So we're trying to have a good marriage between sports and education in Bayelsa State, and our goal is, once that happens, we're going to have athletes who will transition to leaders in society, even in other realms. Unfortunately, right now, almost 100% of funding is government-based, but our plans are to involve the private sector a bit more. Of course, the government can't do it all, and if they do, it will be limited to a level. So what we want is to involve public-spirited individuals, corporations, to also do their part to ensure that sports thrives in Bayelsa, especially in an area where they do business. Since the advent of this administration, we've taken not only attending competitions, but also hosting as a viable path for attracting tourists to Bayelsa. Over the last year alone, we hosted 5 national championships. This year, we've already hosted 4. We're on track to host about 8 national championships this year. And that's how we're going to graduate. Our goal eventually from next year is to be hosting 1 national championships every month. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. And with respect to return of investments, these are not physical things. They're not as tangible. You can't touch them. But when people come, they stay in hotels, they eat outside, they see things they like, they go to restaurants, they buy things in the shops. Sometimes some people could buy land, they could come and do business, they could set up businesses. So that's what affects the economy. We may not be able to tell you this is what we got as return for investment, but we know that each time we host, it comes with its normal returns. His Excellency Senator Idiri has been very deliberate in his enforcement that we use sports as a catalyst to unlock the potentials of our youth in Bayelsa State. And since his administration started in 2020, for the first time, we've started annual sports festivals in the state. We've never had it before. And with that, we've been able to harness a lot of talent from the 8 local government areas of the state, and this is going to be a continuing trend. My favorite moment was when Blessing Oborodudu won the Olympic silver medal in Japan. Tough one. I don't want to pick favorites. People are going to be so disappointed in me as commissioner. He has this person in mind. I'm going to stay away. Wrestling. I would change the funding paradigm.